Jimmy Graham could have been on the Green Bay Packers or the Saints. We don't know. Like, he could have been, 8 games of the year he was with Green Bay, and the rest was with the Saints. He was everywhere. He was another playmaker on the team. So,
I mean, I just can't.
That's just my argument.
No.
And it's not like I hate Rodgers, okay? Yes, one of the greats. If he's never on the Jets, I would be calling him one of the greatest of all time. I still don't think he is, but
he's not.
Look at Dan Marino. Dan Marino is another example.
He's one of the greatest of all time. He's definitely not the GOAT.
Yes. Okay.
Drew Brees is still above him. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the B Team. We got Mikey over there.
Hey,
we got Muller over here. And, Mikey, we got a lot to talk about with the NFL this week. We actually have stuff to talk about the NFL.
Yes,
we got some people getting signed. We got an argument that you're going to bring to the table, basically because people on Instagram and Twitter were not having it last week. We got the NBA draft. We got a new segment, the top 5, which we will get into later in the show. But I want to start this week, Mike, with the Buccaneers this morning signed Todd Bowles and GM Jason Licht to multi-year deals. I think that's great for the Bucs. Todd Bowles has taken them to 3 straight consecutive NFC South championships. You look at the GM, and he's brought in guys like Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs, Vita Vea, Antoine Winfield Jr., Chris Godwin, Bucky Irving, Kate On. Like, he's a ton of guys he has hit on. And I think I saw a stat last night when I was just scrolling through NFL Twitter. They have the most snaps and starts of homegrown players in rounds 1 through 5. Like, that's impressive from a GM's point of view. And I think you're keeping 2 guys that's been working together and been working really well together, and they've been making the playoffs. They've been improving each year. It'll be interesting to see what they're able to do this year, because I think their division is getting stronger. I know the Saints are going to probably be straight up booty cheeks, but Carolina's getting stronger. Atlanta's getting stronger. I don't think, people should set it in stone that Tampa Bay is probably going to win this division again.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're saying. Based off, what we started at, excuse me. It's funny, seeing the progress and the journey of Todd Bowles. He's gone from being in a DC in a lot of places, then being a coach for, the Jets for a long time. He's kind of hopped around a little bit, before his head coaching start journey, per se. He usually, there are a lot of people out there who, can only really coordinate, like a Matt Eberflus, a Daniel Hackett. Even that's kind of a stretch too. It's just the first thing that popped up in my head. But him, transitioning, going from a coordinator with one team then to a head coach, not having success with the Jets, very mediocre, below average, to then going to Tampa, having he had Brady, I believe, his second year. His first year was a wash, Brady's second year, and they really just haven't looked back. And, you got to give the GM credit to that, because he's, like you said, homegrown talent. It's funny because you look at the way that he's drafted and, made a lot of these acquisitions. They have been known for like a really good defense, and it's switched. The narrative is flipped, where now the defense is a work in progress, but he's just loaded up on offense so much that in their mind, it really doesn't matter how many points you could score on us, because number one, we have a guy in Baker Mayfield, who we signed to a low deal, hoping that he would, progress it to something better. And if not, they found a diamond in that. I don't know if you saw my story on Instagram yesterday.
Yep, no, I saw
You saw that?
Yeah, I did.
And that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I said this last year. Like, people are talking about, all these top 5 quarterbacks, like this, that, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, Josh. Like, but we're forgetting about this guy. Like, people just don't realize how much this guy has improved the Bucs. Granted, Mike Evans is there. He's been there. They handled that contract situation flawlessly. Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan they drafted. Bucky Irvin they found in last year's draft. Now they got Emeka Egbuka. Like, this is a guy who apparently we know he's good. He showed out at OTAs, but they're just consistently getting better, and that offense is lethal. And it doesn't. And I think they should be happy with where they're at and what they have done, because they have an offense out there that can literally drop 28 points a game minimum. Yeah, I think they are that strong, and it's not like Rachaad White was a number 4 back 2 years ago. Last year, took the backseat of Bucky. That dude could still play. If you're talking about like a tandem, like a top 2 RB tandem, they're a top 3 tandem in the league right now. I mean, it's a little, hot take-ish because Rachaad White hasn't really shown it, but when you give that dude the opportunity and, Bucky somehow does, if something happens to Bucky and he has to go in there and do something, he's going to be fine. Great check down guy, great change of pace back, great hands, but Bucky's just lethal. So you got to give credit to where credit's due. I mean, I know I've talked about them for so long now, but those contracts are well deserved. Yep. And the division is getting stronger. And you know what? It is. I agree with you. It's not something that is locked in, but I just think it's not. Usually you see, when a really good team has won the division for a while, they're going to take steps back. It's like, okay, something's not working. We have to change. And, we might sacrifice a year to get back to where we're supposed to be. I think they're consistently just getting better and better and better. And I don't think they're getting worse.
But it's one of those things where, you look back at that Brady year where he came in, the defense was very solid, offense was very good. So both sides of the ball, they were strong. But at the same time, their division was a little bit stronger too then, so they had to have a good defense. The division's taken a major drop-off from those years, just over that little 2-3 year span. Carolina has been one of the worst teams in the league. The Saints even dropped off very far, one of the worst teams in the league.
Post-Drew Brees era right there.
Yeah, and you look at the Falcons, you could say they've probably been one of the biggest underachievers in the league in terms of the talent they brought in, the expectations. But I think that the Panthers have done very well the last year and a half in terms of building that team on both sides of the ball. The Falcons, obviously, for the 3rd year in a row, are going to have expectations to win the division and do something in the playoffs. If history repeats itself, not surprised if they fall flat on their face.
Of course.
But that does concern me because I want to go back to what you said about the defense. They've kind of switched where the offense is the very strong point of the team, and the defense has a lot of questions. And you're looking at a division where the offenses are actually improving rather than the defenses on both sides of the Falcons and Panthers. How's that going to affect the Bucs? Is it going to be shootouts every week where maybe they win some, maybe they lose some? And now the division's up for grabs where, you go back 3 years ago and look at that defense. If you have a good defense in this division, you're probably going to win it. So it's very interesting what's going to happen here with the NFC South.
Yeah, one last thing here. With the Bucs, which I find funny, like we talk about the defense and how it's, taking a step back. They're trying to rebuild a lot of the pieces that have left. Carlton Davis. I'm going to get one of these linebackers confused. Shaquille Barrett, I believe he's gone, but Levante David. You have Vita Vea in there, but they've really missed that edge presence. I believe they took somebody. I just can't think of his name right now. But I don't know. Like when you look at the division over the last 3 to 5 years, there's been the Saints getting rid of Drew Brees, him retiring, and then them just trying to figure out what's next. The Falcons, they had Kirk Cousins for those that year or so, and before that Desmond Ridder. They just haven't been able to find their guy, so it's just been turnover over turnover. And like in that moment, they're focusing on their core pieces, building each side of the trenches, their cornerbacks, premium positions, left tackle is another one. They're doing this without, having that guy under center. The Panthers are a little different. They got their guy a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, Bryce Young. Yep. Now, they believe that they found their guy, which, we think they have. Oh, yeah. So now they're starting to build out and fill out the other pieces that they need. You get Tet McMillan, Xavier Legette. You have Jalen Coker there. You have a good defensive core there. J.C. Horn, Derek Brown.
Listen, the Panthers are winning this division. I'm sorry, but everyone's going to underestimate them, and they're going to win the division.
Yeah, but it's good though because I really think yes, Atlanta is getting better, and I like Atlanta. I like what they bring to the table. The quarterback position just hasn't been. It just has not worked out for them, and that's been their downfall. Is Michael Penix going to be that guy? Is Michael Penix gonna? He's going to start. Is he going to? Is he going to be average? Is he going to be your 8 and 9 type of quarterback? Is he going to be your 7 and 10, or is he going to be 11 and 6? We don't know what to see from him yet. We haven't seen it yet. So.
Is the NFC South the worst division in terms of evaluating quarterbacks? Because you look at it, Carolina has not had a quarterback since Cam Newton. And then you look at Atlanta, they haven't had a quarterback sit there and be good since Matt Ryan. You look at now the Saints are going through it. Drew Brees. I'm telling you right now, that kid that they just picked and they're going to make him be the starting quarterback.
Tyler Shock.
He might last a year and a half. He's not going to be there very long.
I think he could be a good player in this league,
but
and I think he will actually last a year.
He has to.
He has to. Okay.
He has to.
Hey, he doesn't have to.
But next year, I see them probably going after something else because they're going to see this, and it's just going to be, look at what Atlanta went through. Mm-hmm. They had Desmond Ridder come in there, and that was a joke.
Yeah,
I think that's what the Saints are going to go through here for a little bit, where they're searching for this leader and this presence. And I don't think it's there yet. I don't know how long it's going to take them to find it. But if their division is any reflection on how long it takes, they will not be good again for another 4 to 5 years.
This is my thing, though. Like, you could put any fucking quarterback back there. Yeah. Nothing will change. They are just that bad of a team, bro.
But this is how the NFL is.
It's so bad.
This is how the NFL is. Like, okay, you get drafted, you're on a terrible team. Look at Baker Mayfield.
He's going to go through growing pains a lot. He's going to look shitty, but like in hindsight, he actually might be Look at Darnold. Exactly.
Let's go.
But it's the truth. Like, and like that's the thing that like I know I bring him up all the time, but like I called this, bro. I fucking called it. You're in the Jets. You go 7-10, 7-9 your first year with Adam Gase. We're like, this is terrible. They're running 2nd and 10s with Frank Gore up the middle for 2 yards. How is Sam Darnold going to win with this? Then you see what happens. Like, I think where the Saints are right now, it's just they just don't have, the locker room is not together right now. Kellen Moore's there now, Is he really the answer as a head coach? They don't really know what they're doing at quarterback. Derek Carr is probably, I think, just retired. Mm-hmm. Spencer Rattler. You got Tyler Shock, who you just drafted out of Louisville. So they're just not in a position to win. But I think, when you're looking up the next couple years in the draft, next year's draft is, very skill position heavy. I think your quarterback class is good. You got your Drew Allers and your Nussmeyers and, all these other guys. So the guys that can make a difference, very similar to kind of what we see this year, this past draft. It's not like, oh, my God, like this guy is the solidified number one. Yeah. It's going to be a big defensive class again. I think that following year is where, the Saints are probably going to still be shit. They'll probably, have 5 or 6 wins, and they'll have a shot at a guy like, Arch Manning or whoever else is going to be there. The 2027, you want to talk about a loaded draft class, that is where, the Saints could make or break their team.
Like, follow, subscribe, back to the show.
All right, let's move on here. So, what do you want to get into next? Do you want to get into the Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees stuff?
Yeah,
because we were just talking about the Saints. Let's do it.
Why not?
So, speaking of the Saints, we're going to go into Drew Brees versus Aaron Rodgers. Mike is going to hold court here. This is your argument, not my argument. I'm going to hear you out, and I'm going to rebuttal.
Listen, like I just want everyone to know, because we did post that and everything. It's not like I'm not saying Rodgers is ass. All right, let's just put it out there flat out. The dude is one of the greatest to ever touch the football. Okay, all right.
He's not ass, but he's ass now.
He's ass now. Okay, yeah. And this is what I just want to, because I know there are a couple guys. I think Drew Brees. I would take him over Rodgers any day, and they think I'm crazy. So I'm just going to go through a whole list of numbers. I'm just going to rattle them off, and you just tell me, and then just overall, who would you want as your quarterback on for your franchise, all right? So I'm going to start with Rodgers, okay? A lot of stuff here. As of now, he has 256 games played. He has about 59,000 passing yards. Obviously, everything will increase. 475 touchdowns, 105 picks. Great ratio. Can't lie there. 65.3% completion rate. 103.9 passer rating, 4 MVPs, playoff record 11-10, 1 Super Bowl, 1-4 in NFC championships, and in the playoffs he's had 45 touchdowns, 13 picks. Yeah, so his last 2 years, go ahead. What do you got?
I mean, with the Aaron Rodgers stuff, like we can kind of compare these stats head to head now because
he's
retiring this year.
Exactly.
Like it's over after this year. He said it. He came out this week. It's over.
Yeah.
So I think in playoff stats especially, we can definitely compare those because there's no shot the Steelers make the playoffs.
Yes, exactly. So
Zero
that'll
chance.
probably be it. So his last 2 years, all right? So 2023, he went 0 for 1 for 0 yards.
Aaron Rodgers did.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that's terrible. You cannot be doing that in the playoffs. Continue.
No, that's the whole regular season.
Oh, that's regular season.
That was the regular season.
Oh.
He went 0 for 1 for 0 yards.
That's even worse.
Yeah,
it's even worse. His team didn't trust him to throw the football.
He went 0% for the year.
Yeah, that's horrible.
2024, all right? This was his recent year with the Jets, all right? Skewed numbers, by the way, if you actually fucking watch this team. 63% passer rating, 3,897 passing yards, 28-11 touchdown pick ratio, 5-12. Just keep that in mind. They went 5-12.
Dude,
okay.
Everyone hates on Dak for being garbage time.
5
Dak
and 12.
coming back. This is the epitome of garbage.
This is
time.
garbage time. This is
time.
garbage season.
At least Dak Prescott puts up numbers in games that are close and like can actually win the games. This man wasn't even winning games. That's garbage time. That's garbage.
Why?
He went 0 for 1 the year before, and then he followed it up with that bullshit.
Went
no,
5 and 12.
That's terrible.
Yes,
that's
with
terrible.
Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall, who
Terrible.
are elite superstars.
Terrible.
Again, if he wasn't a Jet, you know, I would not be as pissed off at this guy.
But like they had Alan Lazard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they had Nathaniel Hackett and Randall Cobb, and they brought in Devontae. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I can't believe
what a
they
shit
did
show.
better.
Woody Johnson buying Crystal Palace, by the way. Saw that. Fucking.
I love what they posted on. Sorry, not to
Go
away
ahead.
from it, but I love
I
what
haven't
Crystal
seen it.
Palace posted. Did you? You didn't
No,
see it?
I didn't see it.
All right, so let me pull it up here.
Oh,
basically,
God. What's wrong with him?
they posted basically that Dick penis Dick bought their team. It was so funny. Let me find.
They're gonna be a losing club now. Didn't they just win like a trophy this year?
They did. They won the FA Cup.
Yeah, they're done. It's
that's
over.
pretty cool.
It's over. Trade
So-
everybody.
One sec. I'm finding it. Wow, they post a lot for a team that doesn't really win anything. Oh, okay. Here we go. We can confirm that Robert Wood Johnson Woody has signed a legally binding contract to purchase the Eagles Football Club holding. All right. Robert Wood Johnson Woody. Just say Dick.
That's just
daughter club.
Yeah, just do it.
Yeah, that's
They're
incredible.
pissed. They might be
Incredible.
pissed.
I think they are.
I mean, with a post like that, Woody.
All right,
I love how people
continue.
are just okay.
Let's
all
get
right,
back.
sorry.
Let's get back.
All
Let's
right,
get
so that is Aaron Rodgers' stats. Okay, obviously, you know, last 2 years with the Jets. Hey, he wanted Nathaniel Hackett. He wanted all these guys. Bam, 5-12, all skewed numbers. The season was over after 3 games. Okay, Drew Brees now. So he has 287 games played, 80,358 passing yards, 571 touchdowns, 243 picks. So Rodgers has him on, you know, the touchdown to interception ratio. Completion percentage 67.7 for Brees. Passer rating 98.7. 0 MVPs. Playoff record is 9-9. 1 Super Bowl. So they each have a Super Bowl. They each have about almost 8. They have 18 minimum playoff games. He's 1-1 in NFC championships. 37 touchdowns in the playoffs. 17 picks in the playoffs. So similar numbers in a way. Rodgers obviously has better numbers in that sense, but I think they both overwhelmed at that time. Look, his last 2 seasons, 2019. He had 116.3 passer rating. He had about 3,000 passing yards, and he went 27 for 4. 27 picks, or 27 touchdowns, 4 picks. He also played 11 games. Keep that in mind. He played 11 games, and he still almost threw for 3,000 yards, 2,979 to be exact. And I think they made the playoffs that year. 2020, I believe they made the playoffs, and they lost to Brady. That was, I think that was the year. Or it was 2020 where Brady then went on to win the Super Bowl. One of those years they played Brady and lost. 2020, he threw for 2,942 yards, 24 touchdowns, 6 picks. He went 12-4, played 12 games.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is my thing. Ready? If you're, you know, we've watched, you know, the huddles with Drew Brees. We've watched Aaron Rodgers be a dog for so long, you know, and like obviously both of these guys only have 1 Super Bowl. Based off these numbers, you know, who would you take? Because I would take Drew Brees. And again, there is a little bias in it. Just, you know, watching as like the personality standpoint, you know, the person itself, you know, having Drew Brees as that leader, having him as, you know, a very consistent, probably one of the most accurate throws of all time. Like if you want to talk about, you know, peak talent and like raw, just athleticism, just an absolute dog, Aaron Rodgers has him. I'm going to say it 100%. But, you know, if you want to talk about a leader, if you want to talk about, you know, winning games, yes, you know, he went to 5 NFC championships. But, you know, he went 1-4. Like, at least they got there, but you went 1-4. Mm-hmm. You know, Drew Brees went 1-1, and he lost one where they went on to win the championship. I think just Drew Brees in general, you know, I think he was more accurate. Listen, it's tough. It's a tough comparison, but for me, it's, you know, the leader aspect, you know, that I feel like we didn't really see with Rodgers. It was really just him going out, smiling, and just throwing the football and playing well. But maybe I'm just a hater at the end of the day. Maybe I am. After what I just saw the last 2 years, look at the last 2 years for both of those quarterbacks in their last two final seasons. Obviously, pending Rodgers this year. If Rodgers goes to the playoffs and wins, and actually makes noise, different conversation. Different conversation. So
here's what I'm gonna say on this. When you look at Drew Brees' career, no, I don't even need these. I got it up right here. Drew Brees was in a division with Carolina when they had Cam Newton. He was in a division with Atlanta when they had Matt Ryan. He was in a division with the Bucs, who always put up a fight. Mm-hmm. They were never terrible
the shit team at the time.
They were never terrible. Aaron Rodgers was in a division with Detroit Lions. No offense, Detroit, you're doing well now.
Chicago,
terrible. Chicago, terrible.
Minnesota.
Chicago had a few years in there, but terrible. Minnesota always was around, especially in those Kirk Cousins years. But they weren't great.
Before that.
They none of those teams were contending for Super Bowls when Aaron Rodgers was there. Whereas Drew Brees had to deal with that Carolina team. He had to deal with an Atlanta team that was going to Super Bowls. So I think it's more impressive that Drew Brees was putting up these numbers versus those teams that he had to play twice a year. Whereas Aaron Rodgers was basically getting gimme wins up in Green Bay. So I don't think you can really look at the quarterback record and see, oh, this guy won this many games. I think that has to get thrown out the window. It's a different division, different schedule every year in comparison. Now, Drew Brees threw for way more passing yards per game. He threw for way more touchdowns. He might have had more interceptions, but I would rather my quarterback, and people are going to hate this and say like I'm a Dak protector, but let's remember Jalen Hurts was leading the league in interceptions. So Drew Brees, at least he's taking chances and he's going for it. Whereas Aaron Rodgers, he does that stupid thing where he's trying to cheat the game and get you offside so he doesn't have to play football, which is why he probably went 0 for 1 in that 1 year. I think Drew Brees clearly is the better of the two. People are going to hate that. They're going to hate us for it. Drew Brees is the better quarterback compared to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, sure, he has 4 MVPs. I'm sorry, but MVPs don't win you Super Bowls. They don't win you games. Sure, you can be great, but let's look at it. Lamar Jackson has done nothing but win MVPs. He's done nothing. Josh Allen won the MVP last year, but let's be honest, we never thought Josh Allen was really going to make it to the Super Bowl. He choked in the AFC Championship once again. Love you, Josh. Mm-hmm. But these guys, you win the MVP, and then you don't win the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes won it, I think it was 2 years ago. But then I was looking through the list. There's not many that win AP MVP, which is just a quarterback trophy anyways, that go on to win the Super Bowl. Hell, even win the AFC Championship game sometimes, or NFC Championship. Mm. So I think that stat and Drew Brees not having it doesn't really matter all that much because it doesn't equate to actual championships in a team sport, not an individual sport. Let's remember that, Aaron Rodgers, team sport. But he does have 2 AP Offensive Player of the Years, which one of them happened when he won the Super Bowl. So I respect that one a lot more, whereas Aaron Rodgers has 0. No surprise there. Pro Bowls are tied. All pros are tied. Pro Bowl appearances, Drew Brees has more. Mm-hmm. Somehow he has more when Aaron Rodgers was in a division that he basically could stat pad. Couldn't get into the Pro Bowl more times. I'm sorry, but that doesn't make much sense. So, yeah, I'm going with Drew Brees all day. All day. People are going to think I'm trolling. I'm not trolling. This is why, I'm sorry. I'm not trolling.
Do you even remember what Drew Brees is working with at the time?
Dude,
he made Mike Thomas never existed once Drew Brees retired.
Mike
did not exist.
Well, that's true. That's true. Man,
Marquise Colston?
Yes.
Well,
Reggie Bush.
Alvin Kamara. Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
Defense was decent.
Yeah.
I don't remember anyone on their defense. What, Cam Jordan and fucking Marshawn Lattimore?
Yeah.
It's not like that defense was, outstanding. I could be wrong.
Did Aaron Rodgers ever have to withstand a hurricane, a Category 5 hurricane?
Bro, you know how loaded that team was? His prime with the Green Bay Packers. You know how fucking loaded that team was? Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, freaking Greg Jennings with a broken leg, Donald Driver. They had so much talent around them. We're not even talking about the defensive side. When you had guys like A.J. Hall, Clay Matthews, I think they had Woodson at the time too. They were absolutely loaded. And yes, I give them his flowers because they were getting wins, but it's it's a hard argument, when you have to bring in the wins because it is a team sport again. But, you went 1-4 in the NFC Championship game. That's where you're needed. Yes, you had 5 appearances. You had more than Drew Brees. Congratulations. Brees went 50%, whatever. You went 1-4 in those, bro.
How could people possibly call this guy the GOAT? I'm sorry to cut you off there, but how could people possibly call this guy the GOAT when we have guys like Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes constantly going to the Super Bowl and winning, and they're winning games in the regular season? This guy was a regular season merchant. Yeah, he went to the NFC Championship a bunch of times, didn't make it to the big one.
And
the only thing that matters is the big one. So if you can't get there, which is why Dak Prescott gets a bunch of heat, it's why Joe Burrow is going to end up getting a lot of heat because they put up all these stats.
One.
Lamar's another one. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen's another one.
Yeah.
All these guys, when you look back on history in 10, 15 years, no one's going to say that those guys were GOATs. Why? Because there was Patrick Mahomes, who was going to Super Bowl every year. There was Tom Brady before that. That's why Big Ben's not considered GOAT, even though he was competing with Brady. That's why Peyton Manning's not considered GOAT, because he was competing with Brady. There's reasons why these guys aren't considered the GOAT, because Brady was there. Brady was there with Aaron Rodgers, and I guarantee you if Aaron Rodgers was on the other side, he wouldn't even be close to this conversation, because Tom Brady would have been walking over him every single year.
You know what the problem is though? I think the fans, us as fans, we watch okay, I have a love for Lamar because he has that flash and that entertaining player, just good runner, good thrower, make shit happen. Aaron Rodgers was the same. I'm not saying in his prime he was the same. Remember that game against Dallas? That I was like, man, Aaron fucking Rodgers, he showed that. If you want to talk about, being able to.
Wait, which game against Dallas?
It was the one game where he was driving. He had the great pass to it was on the sideline, 2 toes in. They beat Dallas 2-minute drive. I think it was a playoff game, right?
Oh, that game, the one where Dez caught it. Yeah.
Yes.
Let's look back.
No, it was in Dallas.
Yes, the one where Dez caught the ball.
No, that was in Lambeau.
Dez caught the ball. No, that was in Dallas.
Was that?
That was in Dallas because he caught the ball. The Cowboys should have won that game. Romo should have had that win. Aaron Rodgers cheated his way with his black magic sitting in dark rooms.
Satanic black magic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but that game shouldn't even count, so I'm not counting it.
And that's the thing, too. Obviously, we have some Packers fans listening. If you wanted to compare, actual talent, being able to throw on the run, do some, trickery and whatnot. Aaron Rodgers had that shit, man. That was where, why he has such a big fan base around him. Drew Brees didn't have that. Drew Brees, all right, if you want to compare Rodgers and Tom Brady, who actually had more, peak raw athleticism and talent? Brady was in there just picking people apart. Aaron Rodgers was throwing on the run, making crazy throws. So, yes, he had that raw athleticism, but, it's not. It's like investing, You could short-term invest and make a shitload of money right off the bat, or you could play it safe. You can go the long game, blah, 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 and just see your money compound over time. Drew Brees was that. Drew Brees was every single time you're playing, he's going to do the exact right thing. It's not going to look fun, but he's going to win you football games. He's going to, hit slant God or whatever, check downs. He was just so in my as watching growing up, one of the most accurate passers in the game. I watched him a bunch. Peyton Manning's another one. Tom Brady was accurate. Rodgers was accurate, but for some, Drew Brees threw the prettiest ball that I've ever seen in my life. He was so good, and he got the wins, bro. Listen, he only made the NFC Championship twice, okay? Yes, he lost one of them, but he won one of them and then won a Super Bowl. Small sample size, if you get a Super Bowl out of that, is impressive. And again, a lot of people don't remember who the fuck was on that team, because I don't. I
could name
really
a lot of guys that played for Green Bay with Aaron
so
Rodgers.
can I.
I could name a lot of guys that played for the Jets with Aaron Rodgers. Couldn't even tell you one person that played. Well, I could tell you one, but I couldn't tell you a whole squad of guys that
Jimmy
played
Graham
with
could have been on the Green Bay Packers or the Saints. We don't know. He could have been, 8 games of the year he was with Green Bay, and the rest was with the Saints. He was everywhere. He was another playmaker on the team. So.
I mean, I just can't.
That's just my argument.
And
it's not like I hate Rodgers, okay? Yes, one of the greats. If he's never on the Jets, I would be calling him one of the greatest of all time. I still don't think he is, but
he's not.
Look at Dan Marino. Dan Marino is another example.
He's one of the greatest of all time. He's definitely not the GOAT.
Yes. Okay.
Drew Brees is still above him. I want to get into something else here that's popping up on my timeline.
Breaking news?
Kind of a little breaking news, kind of not. It might.
Okay, just some
I'm not
headlines.
sure if it might not happen, but there's a lot of buzz going towards it coming out of the Giants camp. Odell Beckham Jr. signing back with the Giants.
Oh, really?
A lot of buzz around it.
To retire, right?
Yeah, I believe. I think they would be silly to let him play the whole season. I think that would just be a waste of time, money, and that would be a team that finally looks like they're moving in the right direction. This would be 20 steps back, but it would make so much sense for this GM and this organization to be like, yeah, let's bring in Odell Beckham Jr., thinking they're going to get the one-handed catch versus Dallas. Like, you're not getting anywhere close to that.
I think they know that, though. But wait, is it actual? What's the actual news?
No, this is actual news. I saw
not to retire though, just to bring him in and
bring him in.
play.
Like I haven't seen anything about a contract or if it'd be a 1 day type of thing where he's going to retire. I see. So yeah, like I'm scrolling through here. You know, he's coming out with quotes saying "once a giant, always a giant, and only a giant." Like all this stuff. I think it has to be Odell Beckham Jr. coming in for 1 year, working with neighbors, and then saying peace out, retiring.
And you know what? I think he's realized that and has come to it, that his time is kind of passed and he's really there to help out. I mean, look at what happened in Baltimore. Nothing, he didn't do shit. Miami didn't even see the field, I think. I think he's starting to realize, my time is gone. I had my prime. Now it's, going back to where I, started my career, helping out this team that has done so much for me and his family and everything. Yeah. So shout out to Odell for realizing that, instead of, trying to keep playing, being a fourth stringer, wide receiver 4, not getting much time. I mean, he's still, what is he, like 33, 34? I mean, he's playing with Eli, so he's still, he's up there. But, I mean, listen, he had a hell of a solid career.
32.
32, still could play football. I mean,
still can play, but I think the injuries have actually made his actually just 32, but his biological age is like 39, 40 because of all the injuries.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So I think it would be interesting. I think it'd be cool for Giants fans. You get your boy back for a year, see what he can do to help neighbors, and then say peace out as a Giant.
He was electric as a Giant. Though.
Oh, he was
he was electric.
So frustrating to play against.
Yeah. He once the ball was in his hands, it was peace out. He's making a move on you, and he's out of there. And he was, in my opinion, the guy who really made the one hand catch look spectacular and common now. Everyone loves one hand catches, because that catch in the end zone was that changed the game. But in my opinion, that changed the whole aspect of catching footballs and the emphasis of using two hands, but it's still,
also and the emphasis of wearing gloves. I mean, that was the first moment that everyone was like, "All right, have we gone too far with the glove game? It's a little too sticky."
It was a little too sticky. For sure.
All right, so that's cool. But let's get into your top 5. So Mike's got the top 5 here. We're gonna go through the top 5, and then we will get into the draft.
Yeah. So I had this was really tough to. If I had a top 10, I think it'd be easier. Actually, no. It would still be just as tough.
It would be just as tough. I was looking at names trying to do this, and
were you struggling?
So everyone knows what we're talking about right now. We're doing the top 5 clutchest current NFL players. Very tough, right?
Yeah, sure.
Isn't that what you said we're doing?
Top 5 players under pressure.
Yeah, clutchest players under pressure.
Okay.
I just left out the under pressure part.
Okay. Oh, so
right.
It's like when your boss is, you're like, hey, you're fired before you fall. If you fall off a ladder, hey, you're fired before you fall. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So that's what we're doing. Incredibly tough.
All right.
Incredibly tough.
All right. So this is I do have 2 coaches in here as well. Okay. So
dude, wait, time out. You didn't tell me we could do coaches.
Yes, I have coaches.
You say current
It's more
players.
of yes, I'm sorry. It's kind of 2, but it's more so on players, but I just threw in a coach as well. So come on, you can
Is
do
it a
off the top of your
coach
head.
or coaches?
It is one coach.
I'll allow it.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go from 5 to 1. It is a funky list. I will say there are probably a lot of other people that are quote unquote under pressure, but
I have 5 guys.
Yeah. Okay, good. So my number 5 here, I'm going to say Justin Herbert is under a little pressure. 0-2.
Wait, time out.
Dude, what is so hard to comprehend about this?
Dude, so in the text message, you said clutch players.
No, I didn't. Okay, maybe it was a typo. I hope it wasn't. I said top 5 guys under pressure.
I took that as I
didn't
take that as under pressure. Under pressure, could be fired. I took that as guys in clutch time.
No, bro.
See, like this is why you got like this is.
How is this on
this
me?
was just a dumb
Bro,
one
a top
to do.
5 players under pressure. What do you want me to say? Under the hot seat? Like, dude, they're
Top
under
5
pressure.
players under pressure.
No, I would have said top 5 players that are clutch under pressure. No,
I like under pressure. They're good. That's what I took it as because you said players.
Okay, all right. So you have your 5. All right, so we'll do 2 top 5s. Like this, I'm gonna do top 5 players under pressure. You're gonna do top 5 players clutch under pressure. Okay, keep that list. Don't fuck with it.
You got to be
are
way
you
more
guys
specific.
with me here?
You gotta be
Is this
way more specific.
You overthought the shit out of this.
No, I just read the text. Like, all right.
Read me the text.
All
This
right,
is insane.
let me find this real
This
quick.
is insane.
This
I
is
have a
insane.
whole list of people under pressure. You know, you better get your shit together. Type of under pressure. Not all right, boys. We're down by 2 touchdowns.
Sorry,
Time to bring it back.
I'm scrolling through this and I'm just seeing all the
other
Pride
bullshit
Month
we
Mets
talk
stuff.
about. Yeah, fucking hell.
So ready?
They want to get
Ready? Here's what I responded. It says I go top 5 question mark. You go top 5 NFL players under pressure, which sure that could be taken both ways.
That's exactly what I have here.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No specific position. So I'm thinking like clutch players. I responded to you and I said, so clutch gene, question mark.
I thought that was you being sarcastic.
I like it. And then I said current or all time or this decade. You said
Current.
someone who's current. I said, okay, sounds good.
Okay, we have 2
Why
top
did
5s.
you not correct me? I said, what?
Because Muller,
I
you
said,
are
so clutch gene, and you responded nothing to that.
Muller. I thought you were being sarcastic. You are Colin Muller, bro.
No, I meant I was being serious.
Dude,
I wanted
this
to
is
hit
not
this.
a bad thing, bro. We have 2
All right.
good top
All right,
5s
go.
that we're gonna post. All
I
right.
just want to make sure people don't think I'm an
Okay,
idiot.
okay.
Because I
Muller-
responded to you and said clutch gene.
Muller-
We were both in the wrong there. Like
I don't see where you get clutch gene from players under pressure.
like best players under pressure. Top 5 best NFL players under pressure. So like Patrick
bad
Mahomes
wording,
is great
bad wording.
under pressure.
Bad wording. Okay, so
Joe Burrow, great under pressure.
all right, so maybe hand up. I guess hand up. In my mind, I'm thinking top 5 players under pressure,
which is fine, yeah.
Kind of it meets a similar
You
thing.
sent-
So it's,
yeah, your top 5 just had a double
ambiguous.
meaning.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's fine.
We just got to be more specific on our top 5.
I mean, we're still going to have 2 really good lists, so we could post them.
I hope.
And people will. I mean, your list is going to be great. My list is going to be great. So let me go through mine.
All right,
top
go
5
ahead.
players who are under pressure and have to get their shit together. Okay.
Sure, yeah,
Boom,
yeah,
right
go
there.
ahead, go ahead.
Number 5, Justin Herbert. He's 0-2 in the playoffs. His last playoff appearance against Houston, 4 picks. 4 picks.
Isn't he the one that
He's
gave up
0-2.
that huge lead to Trevor Lawrence as well?
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough.
So, listen, he's got a much better team around him. He's got Jim Harbaugh there now. He's got Amari and Hampton. They actually will have a run game. They're not depending on J.K. Dobbins off 1 ACL. So he's got to start proving himself, man. His rookie year when he came in after Tyrod Taylor, he looked fucking sharp. And he looked sharp ever since, but he just hasn't been able to get over the hump of winning games in the playoffs now. I think that's going to be the start. Number 1, getting to the playoffs, and number 2, winning in the playoffs. Whether it be 1, 2 games, the more the better. He's got to start proving himself, because now it's not like, he's not a franchise quarterback. He's going to be their quarterback, but is it going to be this same cycle of, yeah, he's good, but he's not good enough to get us there. So I think he's under a little bit of pressure to, he's got a better team and everything, so you got to start winning. Number 4, all right, I got a little mixed up with this one. I'm going to say Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. I think why they are under a lot of pressure is it might not seem it, but I feel like Chicago is like nudging them to, hey, let's go now. You made this big splash signing with Ben Johnson in the offseason. Your division rival offensive coordinator, now your head coach, bringing his offensive game plan to Caleb Williams in the offense. It's a match made in heaven, and listen, we saw the weaknesses in Johnson in the playoffs against the Commanders last year. I mean, they got blown out, essentially. He got a little too risky, and, it kind of cost him. He went the Dan Campbell route, didn't pay off. So Caleb, obviously, his drama that's been going on, whatever, with his pops and all that, just kind of being a little diva and whatnot. So it's going to be something to see. It's something to watch. They're going to be a team that, has high expectations. And they should. I mean, Caleb Williams was the number 1 pick. They have DJ Moore there. They just drafted Colson Loveland. They have Luther Bird. And they got a lot of players to, Roma Dunze. That's another guy that's ready to make that jump. So they just got to start winning. You're in a tough division. Ben Johnson is there. He knows the division on the back of his hand. Got to start winning now. That's number 4. Number 3, my favorite person in the world, Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray, listen to this, ready? He has one playoff appearance in his career. It was a 34-11 loss to the Rams in 2021. That was his best season. He has played for the Cardinals 6 years now.
Can I make an argument for Kyler?
Go ahead.
Because I agree with you, especially after all these Kyler stands came at us this week because of that video.
Yes.
That was so funny.
Yeah,
that
they
video.
were not having
so
that.
funny that
They
video.
were not having
I'm going
that.
to put the video in right now.
Shout out to the one follower that joined us, by the way.
Yeah, because he liked our relentlessness.
Yeah.
But Kyler Murray, yes, he hasn't been to the playoffs in how many years did you say?
It's 2021 was the last time.
So it's tough because he came in, had all those expectations. His teams haven't been terrible.
They haven't.
They haven't been great, but they haven't been terrible. And he's in a division where, San Francisco has been very dominant, especially in that division. You got the Rams who, when they go all in, they go all in. And Seattle, they just keep pulling stuff out of their ass. They're in a very tough spot in a tough division to make the playoffs, let alone compete in the playoffs. But I think that this year they've actually built around him a lot. And if there was a year for him to prove that he's good enough to play in the playoffs and
This year?
move forward and be the starting quarterback of this franchise, I think it's this year. And if it's not, if he doesn't go to the playoffs this year, I think next year is definitely a make or break year for him. It has to be.
It's just I just don't know what they see in Kyler. Okay, I
Can they
don't
even
want to
see
say
him?
that. Yeah, nice. But you've had it for so long now, and you've only really had one season over 500, and that was in 2021 when they lost to the Rams in the playoffs. Ever since then, so 2019 he went 5-10-1, rookie year, fine. 2020 went 8-8. 2021, obviously, over 500. 2022, 4-13. 2023, 4-13. 2024, 8-9. I feel like the writing is just on the wall and they're ignoring it. This guy is just not going to get you there. He's not going to get you there. And I don't want to put all the blame on him, but it's not. I agree with you. This is the year to make some noise. You have to win 8 games minimum. You have to. Yeah. You have to. You got Will Johnson. You just took Jesus. Oh my God! The draft just
Jesus.
Happened.
Dude, he's saved. He might be saved. Dude. If they got
Jesus, bro. He's playing kicker. He's playing kicker.
Oh my gosh.
They did take Jesus. They took the @ symbol. Did you see that? I follow this. I think it's Makeshift Project on Instagram, and they always do top 5s. And the one was it was a top 10 illegal names you can't have, and the one is the @ symbol.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and you can't name your kid Jesus Christ. That's another one. And obviously there are a couple.
Okay.
Whatever.
I don't hate that.
But I don't know. I just think it's time for Kyler to make or break. You got drafted number 1 overall for a reason. You've been in the league for going on 7 years. It's time, man. Yeah, we could talk about the division all we want. San Francisco being dominant, the Rams being dominant now. Hey, they got better. They got better, and so have you. You might not have gotten that much better on defense, but it's not like you can't go out there and win with the pieces you have. You have a solid running back in James Conner. You have Trey Benson behind him. You have Trey McBride. You have Marvin Harrison, Michael Wilson. You have a lot of players that could really do well for you, but the jump just has not been made. There's no clutch factor. We need to see him this year go over 500.
Follow, subscribe, follow, subscribe, follow, subscribe. Back to the show.
Yeah, that's Kyler, man. It's just he's got to start winning. They have
Walter Nolan, Will Johnson, Jordan
Walter
Birch,
Nolan.
Cody Simon, Denzel Burke, Hayden Connor.
Yeah, so they went defensive heavy.
Crawford.
They went defensive heavy. Buda Baker is still there. He's going to be probably a Hall of Famer one of these days. But it's now or never, man. Because if we see another 7-10 season, there's going to be question marks. No one looks at Arizona and is like, they are a threat. Yes, they have destroyed the Jets in every time they've played, but they just don't make the noise. It's every single game. If you're an Arizona Cardinal fan, you're looking at every single season. Are you a realistic fan, or are you one? We're going 12-5. You have to be realistic with that team. They have had no success in the last 6 years since drafting Kyler Murray. So he's under pressure, man. He is. Let's move on. Number 2. I have Mike McDaniel and Tua. I think they are under a lot of pressure. I think the locker room, I don't know if it's lost or not. You know, Jalen Ramsey wants to get traded. Tyreek Hill, let's not forget last year. He, like, pretty much said in a post-game interview, like, I'm out. Screw this, I'm out. I'm out. What's going on here? You know, we're not winning. We're not winning games. Tua can't stay on the field. When Tua stays on the field, they are a very good team. But Chris Greer hasn't helped him out either. Let's be real. He's been dog shit, that guy. He's been terrible. He cannot draft. He does not know what an offensive lineman is. So, yes, he's included in this mix, but I wanted to put it on the head coach because now, you know, you had your first rookie year. The Miami's looking strong. Miami looked strong. The offense was strong. Reek had a hell of a year. Best receiver in the league in that season. You have Jalen Waddle there. It's not like they're a bad team. You know, I talk a lot of shit on them, but they're not a bad team. It's just, you know, all the other factors that are going on that are going to prevent them from winning. You know, it's losing the locker room. It's the Jalen Ramsey situation. It's not having an O-line. You know, they have Ache and they have really, really good star players. Like, they have a lot of good weapons. It's just we don't know what to think about them now. They're kind of they are better than Arizona, but they are falling into the what are we going to see from this team every year. Yeah. So, and Tua, of course. Tua is the big if factor, you know. If he stays healthy, where can this team go? If he gets hurt again, where does this team go?
Well, I think
we don't know.
If he gets hurt, we might be seeing another Polynesian brother running that team.
Oh yeah.
Zach Wilson. Just stay alert. Jets quarterbacks tend to do really well when they leave.
Guarantee you Tua's going to get hurt. Zach Wilson's first game will be against the Jets.
Oh, it's going to be incredible.
Can I bet that?
I hope.
I want to see if I could bet that.
You could bet that somewhere.
But yeah, I think they're under pressure, man, because, you know, they're wasting time. Tyreek Hill, how much longer is he going to be happy and active with the team? Jalen Ramsey, obviously, what's his deal? Are they going to trade him? Is he going to stay? Stephen Ross has a lot to think about, and I feel like he doesn't make the move that is necessary. I think he's just content with where he's at. You know, Chris Greer should have been fired 3 years ago. Let's be real. Every Dolphin fan can tell you this. He has not done anything to help this team besides trading for Reek and having one good year for that. Yes, he drafted Jalen Waddle. You really couldn't miss on that guy at that time. At that time, they had a shitload of receivers coming out of the draft. You had Devontae Smith, you had Jalen Waddle, you had so many guys that you could have drafted in that position. You hit on him. Easy money. He was a great receiver in Alabama. So that's my number 2. And number 1, I'm just going to let you take the floor here. I got Dak. And my notes are C. Muller. So Dak Prescott's got pressure under him. He always will. That's why I have to throw him there.
But I don't really think that the pressure's on Dak. He's kind of talked himself into having the pressure with the Super Bowl talk this offseason. But also, like, I don't understand the hate that people have for him.
I don't hate him.
No.
The people,
like, with him saying stuff about, like, yeah, he wants to win a Super Bowl. Like, all right, is he not allowed to say he wants to win a Super Bowl? Like, wouldn't you want your star quarterback talking about winning a Super Bowl? Like, the objective of a season isn't to win 5 games. It's not to win 9 games, Pittsburgh. Like, when we go out to play a football season, the objective is to end up playing in February in the Super Bowl. So, like, it's okay to talk about that and have those expectations for yourself, especially when you have the star on your helmet and you're called America's team. You should be talking about those type of objectives. It's similar to how the Yankees, you know, they talk about World Series. Like, yeah, winning an AL pennant's great, but ultimately, when you look at the history of the Yankees, like, Yankees fans in the club will never sit back and say that, you know, we're gonna take the next 5 years and rebuild and not really do shit. Like, that's not in the DNA.
Nope.
It's always to compete, even if that means, you know, it's detrimental down the line. Like, they will find a way money-wise to figure it out. And I think Dallas is in a position now where, you know, it's time that they get over this hump. Like, it has to happen. Mm-hmm. In the next 2 to 3 years, it has to happen. Like, there's no more waiting. Like, Dak is getting up there in age. If there was a time to do it, like, we have to go all in for Dak now, because I don't think I've always stood on this hill. I don't think it's Dak. It's the front office and their inability to build around Dak. But this offseason, they've actually gone and done that. So I'm actually really excited for this season.
So am I.
And I know a lot of people it's going to be Dak's fault no matter what happens. But we're talking about a first-year head coach We're talking about a lot of new staff in the building. We're talking about a lot of young guys that are stepping up into big roles this year. Like, at the same time, if the Cowboys go out there and Dak throws for, 275 to 350 yards, has 2 touchdowns, the run game looks okay, CeeDee's getting targets, George Pickens getting targets, Jake Ferguson looks good, he's playing tough again, and the defense goes out there and does what they did last year, which is, give up 30 points, and all of a sudden we're looking at 30 to 27, and everyone's like, oh, Dak Prescott this, like, that can't happen. Mm-hmm. But I know it will. ESPN's going to pump that down our throats. Yep. Stephen A. Smith's going to be having a field day.
Yep.
And he's going to be talking about how Dak's not a winner. Like, we can't be going through those narratives again. Like, sure, we can put pressure on Dak. He's the quarterback. I'm fine with that. Mm-hmm. He has to accept that pressure. I think he's done really well with accepting that pressure. But at the same time, we all have to look at the Cowboys from like a very objective point of view, because Dak Prescott hasn't been the issue. He hasn't been. Like, yeah, he's had years where he throws interceptions, but he's also had many years where, he's been the best player on the team. And he's had more of those than he's had the down years. He's had 1 or 2 down years. Every other year, you look at it, and objectively, like, when you look at the whole landscape of the team and how the organization set up the team, Dak Prescott has been very good. He's been exactly what you want from a quarterback. He's been a great leader. He's done everything as good as he can on the field. Like, we also have to remember, he's not a top 3 round draft pick. There's a lot of high draft picks that we still float around the league and we're like, oh, they could be good. They could be good. Dallas Cowboys have figured it out with a late round draft pick in Dak Prescott, who has turned into being a top 10 quarterback. He's one of the most expensive quarterbacks in American football history. Like, I'm sorry. If anyone has something to say about that, come to me first, because I'll put you in your place. That's absolute bullshit. Dak Prescott, yes, put the pressure on him because he does have to get over that hump. Mm-hmm. We need him to get over that hump. We need him to get this team to that point. But at the same time, when things go wrong this year, it cannot just be Dak's fault.
Well, and you know what? You're right. I'm with you. And I want to go back to, your analogy with the Yanks. Like, the Dallas Cowboys will always have pressure on them. They are America's team. They will always, and that's literally what, like, if I didn't have the Dallas Cowboys in my top 5, I don't know football. Like, they will consistently have pressure for that exact reason. We get to, and I agree with you, bro. Like, he does get a lot of undeserved hate for a lot of reasons. I think the one thing that we've always talked about is, when you get to the playoffs, it doesn't look good, but it's not always on him. If you want to talk about the Packers game, remember the Packers game we watched here? It was a freaking blowout. That defense let up, 40-something points. Dak didn't play his best. He threw 2 picks.
But like, that's what I mean. When he isn't playing his best, he's still doing okay. Like, the 2 picks early on, like, that sucks.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, he came back out after those drives and was still able to move the ball down the field. He was doing okay. Like, the team itself was not doing great. The offense itself was not doing great as a whole. Mm-hmm. But the defense then, to turn around and not say, like, we have to step up and stop this team, and they didn't stop anything. Like, that's a whole team being bad. That's not one player being bad. Mm-hmm. That stuff drives me nuts.
I know. Hold on real quick. Why I think there is, for me, and I'm with you, bro. I'm excited to watch this team. I really am. Yeah. I think why there's a little bit of more added pressure is because of the acquisition of George Pickens. I think when you get a guy like that, who was wide receiver 1 at Pittsburgh, and you have him now as a wide receiver 2, and you have, a really freaking good tandem with CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, it's like, I want to see points now. Like, I'm ready to see points. And I think how they handled the offseason, I was actually impressed in what they did. They brought in Shoddy, through the organization. They gave him a chance. I like that they did that. Not the biggest hiring ever. Culture guy, exactly. George Pickens, bringing him in, going with a running back by committee. Like, I feel like they are adapting to what the NFL is now, and it took Jerry. I'm not gonna say that. It took Jerry a long time to figure this shit out. We've been preaching this for years. You know what I mean? It's like, now we're seeing a weapon besides CD, where it's not just going to be 15 targets of CD Lamb. Yes, he should still get 9-10 targets a game, but now you have Pickens there who could take the top off the defense. You got Tolbert there. Like, they have a nice little foundation going. The O-line is aging. You're trying to get better. They just drafted Tyler Booker. Like, they're making the right choices. Jerry is making the right choices. Now it's the defensive side. can we make sure we could stop guys like Saquon Barkley? Can we stop a Malik Neighbors? Can we stop a freaking Jaden Daniels? They know what they're competing with, and they're trying to fill those positions of need because that's a scary wide receiver tandem, man. And Dak will feed them. And I think, listen, he's got to make sure that he keeps both of those guys happy. And I think Schottenheimer knows that too. And he's going to, develop his offense in a way where they will run the ball, but they're going to try to get that ball in those guys' hands as much as they can.
Yeah. And one thing that I've always kind of knocked Dak for is that I would joke around because we would have we got 88 on this side, and then we'd have 82 on this side, and they kind of looked similar. And I'd always joke and be like, I don't think Dak can tell which one's CD and which one's not when he gets in the pocket because he would be throwing all over the field, and CD's just throw it up to
right there. Yeah.
So I think now this is perfect for Dak.
It's perfect for both of them,
because you got
bro.
George Pickens over here and CD over here, and when he thinks that this is CD and he throws it to him, at least the guy can catch the ball. And I love the quotes that are coming out from Pittsburgh from the last 3 years about George Pickens because they all want to hate
on him.
They
now.
all want to hate on George Pickens,
Yep,
but let's go back 5 months. Oh, George Pickens is always open, even when he's double covered.
Best receiver, blah blah blah.
Yeah. Thank you, boys. Thank you, stupid asses. Mike Tomlin's gonna get roasted. It's gonna be a 9-8 season for you fellas again. Just above 500, you might sneak into the playoffs. Can't wait to see you lose to the Buffalo Bills by 40 in the first round of the playoffs. Have fun with that.
I really like the last thing. I really like how the type of players they have They've really went through some shit in their careers. Look at Javonte Williams. He was on a shitty Denver team. Miles Sanders, had that fucking exceptional year with Philly. Goes to Carolina. Bam. No one ever hears about him again. Jaden Blue, you're bringing him in from Clemson, or I think it was Clemson or Texas, one of those. Yeah. But you got a nice foundation of players that want to win. They want to win. George Pickens, he might be throwing tantrums, but the dude wants to win football games. The defense is the same, they want to win. Micah Parsons, he wants to win. You got to keep a guy like that. They want to win football games. Yeah. I really think they'll be a lot better this year, and I think they could be a playoff team.
I agree.
I truly do. I truly believe it because I'm a Dak stan too, man. I think Dak, he at one point he was a top 3 quarterback in the league, was run for MVP at one point. Mm-hmm. He just never was surrounded by talent. That was my biggest thing for them. And yes, it might not be, you got Brandon Cooks and you got these guys and whatever, but now you really have someone that could just absolutely help out CD, bro. CD's elite, one of the top 3 receiver, and it's just when the focal point is him, and the defenses are gonna know that. It's easy to just cover these guys, cover
you could
one
argue
guy.
We have 2 top 10 quarterbacks in the league, or not top
receivers.
Top 2 receivers.
Yeah,
in the league.
George Pickens. I think we can see a massive jump in his production now, and it's going to be so much helpful for the offense. Not even just them two, but the offense to spread it out a little bit. And, the defenses are going to have to adjust, Pickens running a goal ball, just going up for the ball, being physical, now using the run game, Javonte Williams and Miles Sanders. Don't sleep. I feel like people are now starting to forget about the Cowboys. Don't sleep. Seriously. The only thing, again, defense, but
that means a lot, Mike.
They will compete.
Means a lot.
It's the truth though. And people are just gonna hate the stigma of the Cowboys. Everyone does, it's inevitable. But they will make noise. They will. Mm-hmm. They just have to stay healthy. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Every team needs to.
Yeah, every team. It's just when you have 3 stud players like that, you need them to stay healthy. It's look at the Dolphins. You need Achane to stay healthy. You need Tua to stay healthy. You need Reek to stay healthy, and Waddle. Bam, 4 of those. One of those guys go down. Man, that sucks.
Yeah.
It fucking blows. Good luck. The Jets. Oh, if Garrett Wilson goes down, season is over. It's done. It's over.
All right. Do you want me to just run through my top 5 of the? Should we even do it?
Save it. Let's talk a little NBA.
Let's do it next week.
Let's talk a little NBA real
quick.
quick. Can we talk NBA?
Yeah. All right, so next week we'll be doing top 5 clutches under pressure.
Yes. Clutch players under pressure.
All right. Yeah, let's get into the NBA. So obviously Cooper Flagg went number 1. One of the big stories coming out of it was Ace Bailey as well, and his temper tantrum basically that was thrown because he didn't get picked by one of his favorite teams. So I want to start with Cooper Flagg because I have a take here. All right. Cooper Flagg gets picked number 1. Yep, we all saw it coming. He went to the Dallas Mavericks. They played the whole system. Nico Harrison
will never be forgiven.
One of the worst GMs. He comes out and goes, "This was a once in a lifetime opportunity to draft this type of talent." Actually, buddy, it was the second in a lifetime because you had Luka. So that was also a once in a lifetime opportunity to draft that type of talent. So let's start there. Nico Harrison, absolute moron. But we add Cooper Flagg to a team that has the Sixers written all over it. We're talking about a team with Kyrie who gets injured constantly. We're talking about a team with Anthony Davis who gets injured constantly. We got Klay Thompson who gets injured twice a season, every season it feels like. We got 3 older guys who are basically making their way out of the league. They're not going to be competing for championships. And you're adding Cooper Flagg to this party. This has the Philadelphia 76ers model written all over it. And you draft Embiid, an all-time talent. You bring him into a team that, you keep bringing in players and you expect it to work. And we went through this whole process thing. And it just never happened. We never went to a championship. And now you just expect to add Cooper Flagg to an injury-prone team. This is like that meme where you throw something in the pot and just fire occurs. But it's not the fire that's good. It's the fire that literally burns down the building. And listen, Cooper Flagg's going to be fantastic. I really do believe that. I do think he's an all-time talent. I do think he will not be a Maverick in 5 to 10 years. He will not be a Maverick.
No, I trust it. I think Nico got fucking lucky. Or like
how does he still have a job?
Him and Adam Silver maybe were collaborating because they had a 1.2% chance to get the number 1 pick overall. Yeah. I mean, if that didn't happen, Nico would not have a job either. So this could
There's a reason why they traded Luka.
This will be honestly, this could be one of the biggest conspiracies ever for probably the rest of the NBA fucking lifetime.
Yeah, but it's one of those like the LeBron number 1 pick with Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Somehow Cleveland got the number 1 pick in that lottery system, and it just happened to be the year that LeBron. Are you
a fan of the lottery?
No. I think I don't think tanking is the way to go. I think that ruins the sport a little bit. But at the same time, like when you're tanking, you kind of do have to tank better than other teams trying to tank. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, like if teams are going to be bad, just let them be bad. Like everyone has to play them. So, like if they want to lose all their games and basically lose all that revenue because fans will stop coming, look at what the Sixers did those years. Like the tickets were $9. The stadium was barely ever filled. Like they're losing all of that revenue. So let's not act like they're bringing in all that money from that. Yeah. So, I mean, if they want to suck, let them suck. And if they win the tankathon, sweet, they win the tankathon. But I think the whole lottery system, it's
not like one person is going to make the biggest difference. In basketball, like yes and no.
And especially the way they run it, it's not a lottery system like setting up the group stage for the Champions League where you have the balls there. And I know that there's theories with like, some balls are colder than others. So like when they pick them up, they know like which team they're picking so that they can put certain teams together. There's a whole theory around that. But I think if we just did like a bingo machine with the balls and like you put all the balls in, each team gets a number and you have 32 balls in there, that would be more of a lottery system. And like, yes. Okay. And if
they make it look so obvious, bro, where it's like, here's a card and okay, so this team again. It's like there is no way to like tell and show. Like they should be a pre-lottery fucking system.
No, but like, everyone should be able to watch it. Like it shouldn't be us showing up to ESPN, clicking it on,
and then just getting it told by it. Yes.
But the teams are all lined up. We're all looking at the TV, and it literally goes down the line. And somehow the team that's closest to the podium always gets the number 1 pick. Like I'm tired of this lottery system. It's stupid. I want a lottery ball machine next to the podium, and I want. All right, if you had the worst record, you get like 8 balls in there.
There you go.
And you just fill up the lottery machine. You have like and
if you take it again, you throw it out. Boom.
Yes.
It's so simple.
It's so simple.
Sometimes you have to go the old school way, and that's one of them.
And that would be electric. Imagine sitting on the edge of your seat and like literally everyone kind of has the same chance of getting it. It's like a roulette wheel
with like every team.
Oh my gosh. I would be there for that too.
Yeah. Like that'd be awesome.
Man,
They need to start making
put
it
us
fun
in
again.
charge, man.
They need to make it fun again.
But this whole like behind the scenes, we're gonna do the lottery and then pick it, and then we're all just gonna go
bullshit,
out
bro.
there and put out like it's
bullshit.
stupid. It's stupid.
So
and
what
it's
did
rigged.
Ace Bailey do? What's
All
going
so,
on here?
So Ace Bailey was projected when the whole lottery system occurred. Ace Bailey immediately was projected to go to the Sixers. You know, he went to Rutgers, I believe,
yep.
and he was a local kid. Like, I thought he would be a good fit because I thought he could run the wing with Maxey, and I thought it'd be a very good fit for him. I do really like our pick. I think it's VJ.
Edgecombe,
yeah.
I like that
I
too.
think it's very good. I think it will fit well for us. But
100%.
especially after reading about this kid, he basically came out and said his 3 teams that he wanted to be drafted to, as if he had a choice in that. I mean, one, you're not even in the league. You're lucky that that anyone drafted you after that. But then I love that Danny Ainge out there in Utah was like, "No, fuck it, I'm just still going to draft you," and just took him. And now that kid was all upset that he was going to Utah because it wasn't one of his top teams. He has quotes that are very weird coming out after, like, "Yeah, you know, it's their decision. Like, I'm just going to play basketball."
That's
like,
not a good look.
Like, dude, just go play. Like, if I was Danny Ainge, I would hold on to him until right before the season, and then I would just do a massive trade. I would go fleece a team. Go ahead, take Ace Bailey off my hands. He's a dick. He's a douchebag. Go take him off my hands, and then I'll take 3 first-rounders from you, and I'm going to take one of your best players.
Bro.
And I'm going to throw him in with this Utah team who has Larry Markkinen, I believe, still.
Yep.
And
Jordan Clarkson.
do they have Colin Sexton?
Yes.
Dude, go. This is a no-brainer. Trade Ace Bailey at the last second for a bunch of first-rounders. Do what Oklahoma City did. You bring in just bring in a big. Like, honestly, that team, if you have a big that you could play off those guys, and he's can be like a stretch 4, shoot a little bit, I think that team could contend to make the playoffs next year very easily. Like, this is a no-brainer if I'm Danny Ainge, and I think this is why he took the kid, because he knew that this kid wasn't going to want to be there. I think he knew it was going to be a problem, and now it's like kind of working out in his favor that the kid's like not excited to be going. Yeah, we're going to trade you, and we're going to get all the
We're going
picks.
to get more picks back.
Yeah.
Because the draft picks that, you know, the value of the picks that we've seen, you know, look at like the McCall Bridges trade. And there was another one that just, the Durant trade. Like,
dude, the Suns might be
it's
the worst organization in the world.
Bro, it's, I mean, I thought they got a haul. What? They got
the Suns?
Yeah.
Dude, no.
Jalen Green, they got a shitload of picks.
But if
Brooks.
you go all the way back to the beginning of it, like, yeah, they got those guys, but those guys will be good for like 1 or 2 years. Like, I'm talking about if you go all the way back to what they had. Dude,
what they gave up?
They got fleeced.
Yeah.
They got
Oh,
fleeced
yeah,
in this
definitely.
whole thing.
Kevin Durant's always the freaking culprit of it too. But like it's amazing, like, to me, like how much value they put on these players. Like, bro, they do 2nd round picks like don't matter in the NBA? Is it really just, you know, your first rounder and that's it? Like,
well, look
these
at the
other guys
rosters.
don't matter.
Look at the rosters.
Yeah,
I mean,
they are
it's
small.
only
True.
it's only what 9 to 10 guys, and realistically, it's more
12.
like 8 to 10 guys actually play, and then you have 11, 12, 13, whatever on the bench. But I think a lot of guys end up in the G League and then they filter their way out.
Yeah.
Like 2nd round picks very rarely end up being, you know, go-to guys. Like, look at Josh Hart. Josh Hart, I believe, was a 2nd round pick. I think he's taken 1st pick of the 2nd round, 2nd pick of the 2nd round. Now he's like he's one of the most important role players in the NBA the last couple of years. You look at Jalen Brunson. He was almost a 2nd rounder. I think he was taken with the last pick to Dallas a couple of years back, and now he's one of the faces of the league, one of the faces of one of the biggest franchises in the league. Yeah, I think 2nd round picks, it's very tough because you're kind of, you know, you're trying to make
the path is tough.
A 10-man roster essentially. Yeah. Because if you're a 2nd round pick, you know, you're trying to outcompete guys that have been there a while. Yeah. And if you can't, if the team doesn't see you being in that first 10, you're basically sent to the G League. And then you got to go prove yourself in the G League and hope that you get brought up. And then when you get brought up, you got to hope that those minutes that you're in there, you're able to do something. You're able to get the ball. You're able to play good defense. And then if you don't do that, you're sent back down to the G League. And it's just this constant thing. Like, look at Darren Hilliard, great player. He went to Liberty High School, went to Villanova, one of the more important players on Villanova. And, you know, went to the league, was in San Antonio a few years, went to Detroit for a few years. And, you know, he bounced between the G League. He had those 2-way contracts. He had very good minutes in the league. He had some very good games in the league. But then he had to go overseas because he couldn't get into that, like, that 10, that consistent 10. I feel like he was always in that, like, 9 to 12 range. And I think that's what happens with a lot of guys that make it to the league, that aren't, your top 15 picks.
Yeah, they just kind of are like hopping around, just looking for an
Yeah.
opportunity.
Yeah.
And if you
Like
get
obviously
lucky,
there's outliers, but
yeah, no, for sure. What so the Nets had about fucking 4 or 5 first-round picks. How do you think they did?
I didn't look too much into the Nets.
So-
I was more focused on this Ace Bailey kid and Cooper Flag and the Sixers.
That's fair. So the
let me
Nets
pull it
took the BYU point guard, the 6'8" point guard, Igor. They took a guy from France. They took a guy from the Israeli league or the Turkish league. I don't know anything about these players.
Okay, so they took Nolan Traore. I've heard that name before.
No, yeah, he's
a
from
French
France.
kid. I think he will be
France.
good. He'll be good. Let me see.
Their first pick was
Ben Saraf from Israel.
that's another guy they took.
I
Yep.
heard he's like Danny Wolf from Michigan.
Oh my god, bro. I knew that was coming, bro. Oh, you ass. I just immediately went, oh my god.
They took Danny Wolf out of Michigan.
Did you see his brother's reaction? It's an infinite meme now.
His face looks so stupid.
Yeah, they were like really.
I love
upset
the
on it, too.
reaction.
Yeah.
I love the reaction. Just like you gotta look in the mirror and cry a few times and figure out how you're supposed to cry because that wasn't it.
He
Like,
got
if
the
you're-
Scalabrine
yeah,
body
like
to him, bro. Like the way, like I saw one play and the way he like used his body. It was actually a really good play.
yeah, but like if you're gonna cry, just cry. Like
Mm-hmm.
don't try and hold back the tears. Like I think if you're gonna cry and there's cameras around, you just gotta let it rip.
Because then you're like,
Yeah,
you're
you
all
make that
scrunched
weird
up.
face. Like it's better
Yeah.
if you just boom. We're gonna do floodgates open.
yes, just
Yeah.
let it rip, man.
Yeah. No, I think those. I mean, I think
Because the
you
guy
made
from
good picks.
the guy from BYU apparently
and
went
Igor
for a
Demi.
lot
Yeah,
of-
he's good. He's good.
So it's time. You know what's funny? I actually thought the Nets were gonna make like a really big splash with all the picks they had. They also have a lot of second round picks too, but again, they don't matter, I guess. But
a lot of overseas guys.
yeah, they took a lot of guys from the overseas, but I was expecting a big name guy to come to Brooklyn, and I guess it's just not happening. Now it's not. I mean, they have so many draft picks. I just don't think people want to come to Brooklyn at this point. I mean, it's obviously it is
Yeah, but it's not really a if you want to go somewhere thing.
True.
Like what we were just saying
True.
with Ace Bailey.
It
But-
just sucks because like the fan base really is like
Yeah.
irrelevant, and I mean you have like your New Jersey Nets fans who like have either converted to a Knicks fan or are still involved with the Nets. Like it is a very small fan base.
But I mean, like it's tough when your team isn't winning. Like yeah, you had those years where you brought in those big names, but that was one of your worst years.
it was it
So,
was a
like-
disaster from the start.
Like your
yes.
best years were when you brought in Mikel Bridges, who was a role player
Yeah,
for the
and
Suns.
you had all
and
these-
He
yeah.
came in and was scoring 35 a game. You had what's his name? Help me out here.
Who, Nick Claxton?
Yeah,
Cam
Nick
Thomas?
Claxton. He was playing really well. Cam Thomas was playing really
D'Angelo
well.
Russell.
Like it, but that just never amounted to anything. And then you sent Mikel Bridges, your best player,
And they
to the
fired
Knicks.
Kenny Atkinson, which I
Uh-huh.
thought was so dumb.
We
And then
talked
he
about
was-
it here, yeah. Stupid.
It was unreal because then he was on the Cleveland team now as an assistant, and yes, they lost in the playoffs, but they were pretty much the best team in the East. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I just it sucks to be a fan of that organization. I'll be honest, because like there's just nothing going on.
Yeah.
Like I mean, I like Cam Thomas. I love his game, and I hope they give him a contract. We just got to see. I don't know what to expect from them.
Yeah. Well, one more thing before we get out of here. Memphis drafted a kid from China, a center, Yang Hansen.
Awesome.
Dude,
That was pretty electric.
His film looks so sick. They're comparing him to Jokic. I hope he comes in and is just Jokic. Imagine having Yao Ming reincarnated, but like somewhat, able to move and play basketball.
He was in the stands.
Was he?
He was in the stands when he got drafted.
I like that.
That is like I'm rooting for him 100%. He was in the fucking stands, bro.
I like that.
Like, how cool is that, bro? It's like
Yeah.
getting your name called when you're fucking
Just sitting
you
on the
get the
couch.
silver cord in high school and you're like, oh my God, that's me. Stand up. If you're a veteran. You're like, what? Like, that's so sick. Like, dude was just like, you ever see what's that guy's
Lil
name?
Sass?
Yes, little Sasquatch. He's like, I was expecting it. Like, dude, that was like the perfect reaction. He was wearing like all white suit. It was sick. That was awesome.
I don't want to go to the NFL. I'm gonna die.
He's like, I love my
that video.
mom. Did I get fucking drafted?
Yeah, Mom, they drafted. Like, I don't want to go.
I love when he has like the Corona in his hand. He just looks. He's like, dude, how'd they get this footage, man? That happened like 20 minutes ago.
It's
Little Sasquatch.
It's him walking to the fridge.
What an electric video. That's an all-timer.
Yeah.
That is an all-timer video.
Oh, man.
Every single year. It's like Mariah Carey, Christmas time. That's her time to shine. That's where she
back.
makes her money.
Yeah.
Little Sasquatch draft time. That's where he makes his money.
Oh, jeez. Crazy.
What do you think? Okay, real quick before you leave, what do you think about this list, the top 5 list?
No, I thought it was good.
Anything you would change on that? You know what's funny? I actually almost threw in Jaden Daniels. I was close to throwing him in.
No, not yet.
Because I don't think he's under pressure. I think there is some eyes watching him. There's a lot more eyes on him.
If he has a slumped year, it's like, okay, second year, like it happens.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think there's much pressure on him.
That's really like I really didn't think about anybody else. I thought about maybe Brock and Kyle Shanahan. That was another one. I thought Aaron Glenn and the Jets. I didn't want to throw Rodgers in there because it's just the same conversation every single time we are on the show. So I'm like, nah. And there's not really pressure on him. He just already came out and said, it's his last year in the league. So
you had Lamar.
I was gonna put Lamar and Josh in there as like a tandem.
I wouldn't put Josh because I think Josh has kind of
Lamar definitely did. Lamar would have been an honorable mention, definitely.
Yeah, I think Lamar should be on there before Josh because, Lamar has the team, whereas Josh, it's kind of like a mosh pit of names.
Yes.
But like Lamar has like top guys on both sides of the ball. Like
yes.
he should be,
I thought about putting him in
He should be
too.
doing more than what he is.
But I feel like everyone fucking knows that. That's why I'm like, let me talk about the people that, are under pressure that people don't realize are under pressure, Like everyone knows
Honorable
Lamar
mention.
has to win. Yeah, he's an honorable. He like if I'm being real, like if I actually wanted to put him in here, he'd be number 2. Like
maybe Shamar Stewart.
He ain't under no pressure. I almost put Cincy in there. Cincy was another team I almost put in there.
I don't think they're under pressure though. I think
a little bit
because the guys that you would say are what? Who would you say from Cincinnati?
Just the fucking defense, I guess. And
okay, yeah.
Joe Burrow, I guess. I don't know.
Would you really put Joe Burrow there? Because
Never. He's a stud.
Would you say last year he didn't prove that he's
exactly? Yeah, like it was like that would be more so like organizations under pressure. Like the Bengals would be number 1, like because they apparently are faltering like everything. Right
I have
now,
one from left field that I don't think many people would put on there.
Can I take a guess?
Go ahead.
Give me a AFC or NFC.
AFC.
Anthony Richardson.
No.
Okay. Trevor Lawrence.
No, you're getting further. Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
I think that there's a little bit of pressure on him following that Super Bowl performance from the team to, and especially last season. Like it wasn't I know they went to the Super Bowl and they brought it in the playoffs, but it really wasn't that great a season for them.
No, it wasn't.
So I think there's a little pressure on him to, get this team back to the level that they're expected to play at. Not as much as these guys.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think like you can make the argument that he too has a little bit of pressure on him to like get this offense back clicking and, get the troops rallied and, come back and try and push for a Super Bowl and fix what happened last year.
We're getting close, man.
Yep.
We are getting close because it's pretty much end of June now. July, mini camp is starting up. We're going to see football in less than probably 2 months now.
Less than a month.
Yeah, exciting, man. Exciting times, exciting. I can't wait to get back at it. Football time, fantasy leagues. I'm pumped, man.
Yeah.
I am absolutely pumped,
I
which
agree
is
with you.
crazy, but good stuff. Good stuff. Nice list. We'll keep doing some stuff like this. Watch that video too of Mueller breaking 35. That was pretty fun.
It was actually an electrically fun video.
That was a fun video. I was a caddy for you at one point. Like, I call the shots and you executed the shots. That was fun.
I love the
to
part
watch.
where I'm walking back to the cart after chunking the chip. And I just look at him like, Mike, we have to come to an agreement here. If we're a foot off the green, doesn't matter if I'm in like thick rough.
Yeah.
I was like, we're putting. We're putting. There's no more chipping. I
trusted
chip.
you.
Yeah. No.
I should trust you. I know your game.
Yeah, but like I had been chipping okay, but that was also from like 20 yards away from the green.
Yeah,
So-
you were very, very close. Very close. Whoa, sorry
Holy
about that.
Cow. You just ruined someone's morning in the car.
Yeah, I did.
All right. All right, let's get out of here.
All right. See you guys. Like,
Peace.
follow, subscribe.